Listen, one thing Jesus said to me when he visited me in Brooklyn, he said, I will be showing you things ahead of time. He said, do you know why I will be doing it? So that you will not be taken by surprise. Yes. There's nothing that's ever happened to me that I was surprised about. I've never been surprised about anything. Since the day Jesus visited me in Brooklyn, nothing surprised me. Those who have lived with us know that they can tell me something and I will act surprised. I say, wow, but I'm not surprised. I've seen it already. But I appreciate the surprise. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man.
But the natural man receives not the things of the Spirit. They don't want the things of the Spirit of God. They want you to just tell them to say, oh, I live with Bro.Osi. The Bro.Osi is like this. The natural man is that way.
Yeah.
There's still the same problem today you have in the churches. So one person comes and says, Bro.Osi did this, so you just jump on it, hook like that. Ask me, I will tell you the truth. Because if I lie to you, the Spirit of God, who is called the Spirit of Truth, will be offended. One of the things people don't know is that the Holy Spirit, you'll be amazed at things that can offend him. Do you understand? Yes. One thing the Holy Spirit doesn't like is if he sees you as a minister, you lie to a Christian brother. When he did not authorize it. Somebody say, can the Holy Spirit authorize the lie? He can. Was he not the one who told Samuel the seer, yes, pretend that you are going to give God offering in 1 Samuel chapter 16 verses 1 to 4. He told him to pretend. Now, if the Holy Spirit has not told you that, why do you want to pretend? Jesus told me, we told you what Jesus said to me in Brooklyn. He said, always tell them the truth.
Yes, sir.
Because if you lie to them, they will find out. And if they do, they will hate you for it. So what makes you think I will lie to you? I'll tell you I did this thing or I did it. But Jesus said, it's no use. Even if you tell them the truth, they will not find your story credible. He said, but don't worry. There is one that will come. I will be a witness. See that? And that one, by the Spirit of God, will be able to tell who you really are. Why don't we patronize the Spirit of God who can tell us about people? And the person who is trying to tell you about somebody else, look at the person's life. The person cannot even see their back. You want to see someone's front. Wow. You want to see the front of a man of God when you cannot even see your own back. That's why we said before you say you want to talk about a man of God, irrespective of how long you've been with the man of God, let's look at your resume. How the Spirit of the Lord has used you in the past. So that when you start talking, we can say yes. Right?
Yes, sir.
When we told you about Hillary Clinton the last time, right? When we said, I'm so sorry. I missed it at that area. Do you understand? And I came and said, oh, I'm so sorry. I missed it there. This is what happened. This is where I missed it. Right? Yes, I will tell you. Because in the prophetic, you are not supposed to make mistakes. But if you do, acknowledge your faults and not the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God can never lie. That's why the thing the Holy Spirit will not like a minister to do is to lie to his people. So you mean I'll come and stand here now and say, I did not do what I did, or I'll try and claim that I did what I did not do? No, the Holy Spirit will not patronize that. Because if the minister lies, God knows how to fix him.
It's true.
And you know how God fixes ministers who lie that the Holy Spirit did not patronize? They die shameful deaths. Study the Bible. They die in pitiable situations. Not like Jesus, because Jesus was the Messiah. But some ministers, how did Balaam die? They cut off his head. They killed him. Do you understand? So God knows how to fix a minister if he is lying to the people. And every minister should have sense to know when the Spirit of truth is in your life. He just tell them the truth. But Jesus is saying, even when you do, they will still not find it credible. Don't worry, God will raise somebody else. Amen. So just be quiet and move on. He said, but the natural man receiveth not the things of God, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually examined. Discerned them means appraised, examined. That's why we said, if you want to say something about me. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Let's appraise what you said. Do you understand? Not just, oh, I heard this thing about Bro.Osi. Have you heard Bro.Osi did this? Have you heard Bro.Osi? Let's appraise this thing we heard. Then let's also look at who is talking. Who said that thing? Let's appraise that person's life. Then let's compare everything. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Let's appraise it. See, because except you don't believe the God you serve. Don't you believe the God you serve? Do you believe God will not talk to you?
Yes, sir.
So if I come now and tell you this is not true, this is what really happened, you think God himself will not tell you the truth? Are you not a child of God?
Yes, sir.
At least you claim to be a child of God.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Didn't you claim you are a child of God?
Yes.
You even claim you are a son of God.
Yes, sir.
Amen now.
Yes.
And you think God does not owe you the truth?
Yes, sir.
God doesn't owe you the obligation of telling you the truth about a matter.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you ask him?
Exactly.
Than to listen to a fool.
Exactly.
Why don't you ask him? Okay, let's give you all an assignment today, including anyone watching us. And I want you to do it. If you trust what we're telling you, tell the Holy Spirit. You say you have the Holy Spirit. How many of you have the Holy Spirit? Amen now. Oh, you're embarrassed now. You say you have, come on. If you have the Holy Spirit, raise your hand. Ask the Holy Spirit you have. Reveal Bro.Osi to me. He will tell you. And then the story you have heard about Bro.Osi, ask the Holy Spirit to tell you whether that story is true. Ask. You know, a lot of Christians, they like to walk with their head down.
Right.
And they walk sluggard. Is there a word like that?
Yes.
Sluggish. Okay, they walk sluggish. Sluggishly like that. They are not sure. They are not sure whether... Elijah said, how long will you halt between two opinions? If Baal is God, serve him. If Jehovah is God, serve him, right?
Yes, sir.
And many Christians today are still halting between two opinions concerning a man of God. They already had that issue with God.
Right.
How can a man of God escape that kind of thing?
Oh, man. It's true.
That's so true.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
That's why we say, ask the Holy Spirit. Tell me, brother, tell me about Bro.Osi. Tell me whether he's fake or is wrong. Tell me whether it's genuine. Even the visions he says he saw, even Jesus he claimed had visited him. Let the Holy Spirit tell you. Tell him. Say, Holy Spirit, please tell me. He will tell you. If he does not show you in the dream, he will tell you. Sometimes he can position you in a place where you will hear the real story. The Holy Spirit can never lie. You know, except, see, some of you are not even ready for that experience, but we're telling you, do it.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Somebody say, no, I don't need to do it for you. No, do it.
Yeah.
At least that way you can start receiving the guidance of the Spirit.
Yes, sir.
Right? Someone the seer at age 7, right? God came and stood by his door
Yes.
and began to reveal Eli to him. And so if Bro.Osi is fake, if Bro.Osi is this, then God will visit you, he will tell you. You understand? Except God is afraid of me now. Oh, God is afraid of no man.
Right.
He will tell you. He will tell you. And I will not be afraid if you come and say, the Lord told me you are fake. Okay. Okay, I agree. You understand? No, ask God. So because the thing is that people go with stories.
Right.
Stories. And somebody say, well, I don't need to ask the Holy Spirit, but also you tell me yourself. I will tell you, this is it. Whatever you want to now, tell you clearly. Yeah. But if you say, well, but that's you've told me your own side. Remember, Jesus said, if you bear witness of your own, it's not credible. Then ask the Holy Spirit, right? Yeah. In medical science, they call it second opinion, right? Yeah, patronize the Holy Spirit if you want to make him second opinion. But it's better you make him first and only opinion. But if you choose to make the Holy Spirit a second opinion, fine. If you say, let me ask the Holy Spirit first, I wasn't too sure whether it was the Spirit of the Lord that is talking to me. Okay, come and ask me. I'll tell you honestly. Like I told you, when a minister that is called of God lies to the member, they die shamefully. You understand? And it's not as if you are dying now. You will see how the minister will die. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And not be listening to one idiot, one fool. Ask me, I'll tell you the story.
Right.
Because if it is about me, I know the story better. And if I tell you anything that you disagree, then ask the Holy Spirit. I mean, don't you trust the except I don't know, I don't get it. Don't you trust the Holy Spirit you have? He will tell you whether what Bro.Osi said is true, whether Bro.Osi is lying to you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He said, but he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. You see that? You see why the Holy Spirit will be the best option to ask? Because if you say you want to start judging me now, and I'm not saying this with arrogance. I'm very spiritual. Yes, I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
This one is not. I'm telling you. With humility in the Holy Ghost, with the pride of the Holy Spirit, I'm very spiritual. You see me laugh. I can sit there. If you come to my house, ask my folks, I don't really go out. I don't really go out. I can stay for 2 days in the house without coming downstairs to go outside. I stay at home. But you see, even when I'm at home, I'm very spiritual. When I'm walking on the street, very spiritual. When I'm driving, playing music, I'm very spiritual. So I'm telling you, pridefully in Christ. All glory to the name of the Lord. I am very spiritual. And that is why you may not be qualified to judge me, but the one who made me spiritual will tell you everything about me. That's why we said the best person to talk to is the Spirit of God.
Yes, sir.
He will tell you. He will tell you. He will tell you. He will tell you. And to be listening to this person said, we don't know which one now, we are not sure, we are not sure. Yeah? And if you are not sure, what did King David say? He says, even when you are heading on the wrong path, you shall hear a voice saying, stop, this is the way. You understand? Go in it. The Spirit, okay, if you don't believe the Spirit, you will hear a voice. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's stop meandering in our Christian walk. I'm telling you, I'm very spiritual. So what kind of spiritual? It's not your business. But I'm very spiritual. Ask the Spirit of God, the genuine Spirit of God you say you carry, to tell you what kind of spirituality I have. He will tell you. Whether I'm occultic, whether I'm voodoo, whether I'm straight, whether I'm funny. He will tell you. You understand? Now, I'm telling you this. The same thing goes with every man of God. If you want to know about the man of God, whoever the man of God is, ask the Holy Spirit you carry. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He will tell you. Otherwise, you'll be patronizing foolishness. All right, now, the reason why we went into all of that was to give you clarity of what Jesus was trying to say. That don't think we've lost us. Somebody say he's preaching himself. I'm not preaching myself. I'm just trying to give you an example.
Yes, sir.
All right? Go back to John chapter 5. Yeah. So the thing is, stop going by what people say. Ask God. And if you are not too sure, come and ask. I can tell you the truth. I mean, Evangelist Benedict here was the first member of this church 80 years ago. Wow. The first service we had was inside her car. Yes. She's still with us today. Yes. She, in my mistakes, in everything, we carry the same kindred spirit. Amen. Do you understand? Yes. If I'm not too sure about someone, and it is somebody the Holy Spirit does not want to talk about, I will ask Evangelist Benedict. She will tell me straight about the person. Yes. Do you understand? Yes, we were prayed together that way. We've been together now to this day. She's still sitting here. Yes. Do you understand? Yes. At least to an extent. Somebody like that. Yes. Yeah. Do you understand? So say, I'm not sure whether I can hear the voice of God. Ask Evangelist Benedict. She'll tell you about me. Yes. She can tell you about me. She can tell you. We've been through many things. We've argued. Quarreled. Evangelist Benedict is the first and the only person I have told to leave this church. Exactly. And she told me, well, maybe you will go. I will stay. She's the only person. I've never said that to anyone. We've disagreed big time. Evangelist Benedict is still in the first tier of leaders we had in this church. The leadership we have today is about the 5th or 6th tiers of leaders we've had. Evangelist Benny is part of the first set of leaders we've had in this ministry. First. Yeah? I think Pastor Amma too. Pastor Amma and Evangelist Benny. These are the only two. These are the only two. Exactly. Pastor Amma and Evangelist Benny are the only two set of leaders that belongs to the first tier of leader. You know what I mean by tier? So we've come a long way. We've come a long way. So if you think you know me, at least to an extent, ask these people. They can tell you. You understand? Evangelist Benny has told me many times. I will see someone, she tell me, be careful of this person. And I don't joke with that. One time I tried to ignore it. I saw it, and she told me, I told you, this person. I know this person. You understand? So I understand. Pastor Christian has been with us a long time, for over 8 years. At least to an extent, ask him. He can tell you, no, I know Bro.Osi can do this one. If you say you don't want to ask your Holy Spirit, your own Holy Spirit. You understand? And like I said, if you say you don't want to come and ask me, maybe you say, I don't know now, maybe you will curse me, I won't curse you, I will tell you the truth. But if you say you don't want to believe me, at least these people can tell you Bro.Osi did this thing, but this one he didn't. He did this one, no, but he didn't do this one. He says here, if I bear witness of myself,
My witness is not true.
it's not credible. He's saying it is not something you should take notice of. Ignore it if I try to do it by myself. But then he says, but there is another that beareth witness of me. Now, someone say that's the Holy Spirit. No, men. No, that's why we read Acts chapter 1 verses 8.
Right.
He said, you will be my witnesses.
Yes, sir.
You will carry my alites.
Amen. See.
I thought they were supposed to bear witnesses of God. Jesus said, If God alone. God knows how to defend himself. Wow. Men that God has raised.
Yes.
Other men will bear witnesses of them.
I receive.
The Bible we read today, is it not the expenses of men? Yes, are we talking about God or we are talking about men that God used?
True.
The question,
Yes, sir.
are you going to end this way?
No.
Die without you raising a witness who can testify of who you really are to others.
Exactly.
The likes of them, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, all of them, they are in the history books.
Yeah.
And the men that wrote about them are also dead.
Yes.
Here he's not talking about the dead, talking about the dead. He's talking about men in their lifetime.
Yes,
Talking about someone that God used.
Yes.
Oh, now read verses 33. I want you to see something.
He sent unto John, and he bare witness unto the truth.
You see that?
Yes, sir.
Now you see the word truth here.
Yes, sir.
Where is it again? Truth here. The word truth here is the word aletheia. You see that?
Yes, sir.
So Jesus is saying, if I bear witness of my own alites,
Yes, sir.
right? If I bear witness of myself, sorry,
Yes, sir.
it will not be credible.
Yes, sir.
But God will raise others.
Yes, sir.
They are coming.
Yes.
They are coming.
Yes, sir.
And they will be the one to testify about me.
Yes.
And what they will testify about me will be very credible.
Yes, sir.
He said, but the unfortunate thing is that John did not have anybody who could bear witness of him. But guess what? I did it for him. Even though that was not what I was raised to do. I was not raised to bear witness of John.
It's true.
That's not what I was called to do. I was called to be a king.
Yes, sir.
But since this man, he didn't have anyone. But he had disciples, 2 of them. I remember I was teaching recently about John the Baptist, right, in Ghana. Right? Andrew, connection, and all that. Not even Andrew
Exactly.
could testify of John the Baptist. But they were glad to bury a headless body.
Jesus.
Jesus said, no. I will not do this thing when John the Baptist is dead. I will do it in his lifetime.
Yes, sir.
Matthew chapter 11. Go to Matthew chapter 11. He said, John the Baptist, oh, he does not have anyone. He does not have anyone who can bear his alites. Listen, This is how it is when you have been able to raise by the Spirit of God, those that the Holy Spirit can testify of you. That's how you know you live the fulfilled life.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's how you know you really
Yes, sir.
succeeded in your lifetime in the earth. And many have died without raising witnesses that the Spirit of God can breathe upon. Woo! And it came to pass, verses 1, Matthew chapter 11, Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples. He departed to teach in their cities and to preach in their cities. Now, when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples. You see that? Disciples.
Yes, sir.
He only ended with disciples. He didn't raise witnesses. Because you see, there's a big difference from being a disciple, between a disciple and a witness. It is from a disciple you upgrade to a witness. And only the Holy Spirit can choose from among disciples who should be a witness.
Yes, sir.
That man, that pastor that Reverend William Maron ordained,
Yes, sir.
was following Reverend William Maron from a distance. He would read about the testimonies. He would read some of his books.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Pastor Green. He would read some of his books. But when he finally met the man of God, the man of God sent for him. There's a difference, though.
Yeah.
When it comes to discipleship, you are the one going to meet the man of God.
Yes.
Following him.
Yes.
When it comes to being a witness, it is the man of God that will send for you.
Yes, sir.
Now, when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or else do we expect another? Jesus answered and said, Go and tell John. Go and show him. Now read the stories, that's what it meant. The things which you do hear and see. See, the things you hear and the things you see. Tell him what the people have been saying and the things you have also seen. Be his newspaper. Narrate the stories. The blinds receive their sight. Tell him about that. The lame walk. Tell him about that. The lepers are cleansed. Tell him about that. The deaf hear. The dead are even raised up. And the poor have the gospel. Preach to them. Go and tell John about that. But even when Jesus did all of this, according to John chapter 10, verses 30 to 33, men still took up stones to stone him. And he said, wait, many good things have I done. Good works. These are good works. For which of them do you want to stone me? He said, well, go and tell John of the good works we've done. And blessed is he who shall not be offended in me. So tell John not to be angry about me. Because if he's angry against me, there's no blessing for him. You see why he was beheaded? So be careful when you say you're angry with a man of God. Because the day you start being angry with the man of God, you cut off the blessing. Jesus said, blessed is he who shall not be offended in me. So you want to terminate your blessing on time? Get angry with the man of God. Hear stories about the man of God and begin to patronize the evil thoughts in your mind. The blessing stops flowing. And King David said, I was afflicted when I went astray. At that point, you're already going astray. You will see affliction. And what did the Bible say? The way of the transgressor is hard. Verse 7. As they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitudes, he became a witness for John. Since John couldn't raise any, the Spirit of the Lord couldn't fall on any. See, he had disciples, but the Spirit rested on Jesus. And so Jesus knew, I'll only be the one qualified to be his witness. Wow. Because it takes the one with the Spirit to really tell who a man of God is. But you be looking at the pitfalls and all that. That's why we said, if you think you know me, you don't know me. If you think you know different men of God because you take pictures with them, you eat with them, you do this, you travel with them all over the world, you don't know jack about a man of God. Except you have the Spirit of God to tell you, a man of God. See, let's read. Verses 8. No. Verses 7. 1 to go.
And as they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitude concerning John, what went ye out into the wilderness to see?
You see that? When you went to see John, what were you expecting to see? Read.
A reed shaken with the wind.
You see that? Somebody who is not feeble. Is that what you thought? Because some thought of him that way. They saw John the Baptist as someone who was feeble. They saw him that way. Jesus said, you don't know who you went to see. That's what only me can tell you. Because I received the Spirit from him, I can tell you about him. Read.
What went out to see? A man called in soft raiment.
So some went to see John because of what he was wearing. Have you heard? The guy wears animal skin and all that. Someone said, really? Can somebody dress that way? I must go and see. And some went to see John because of what they heard he wore, or he always wore. Okay, read on now.
Behold, they that wear soft clothing are the king's.
You see, if you want to see the latest fashion styles from Fashion Week, go to the palaces. Not with John. But some went to see John for the sake, just to authenticate what they have heard about what he was wearing. Okay, read.
But what went ye out for to see? A prophet?
Prophet? And meanwhile, there are some. I mean, this should be good now. I have a meeting with the prophet of God today. I'm going to see a prophet of God. Papa Joshua, I'm going to chapel. I'm going to sit in front. This prophet must prophesy to me today. You understand?
Yes.
Jesus also, he's saying there are people who go for the sake of just seeing a prophet. And all these things, John was none of them. But they thought he was all this.
Right.
See what Jesus said.
Yea, I say unto you.
Just, the word here means yes. So read it again. 1 to go.
But what went you out for to see? A prophet? Yes, I say unto you, and more than a prophet.
He's more than what your eyes can see. You see that?
Yes.
A man of God, a minister of God is more than what your eyes can capture. You think it's by taking pictures. It's more than that picture that he took. Read.
For
But this is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my message.
You see that? You see that? He said that John the Baptist that he went to see, he is someone that has been written about before he ever came. You understand?
Yes.
So it's more than what you went to see. Clothes, whether he knows how to speak English, whether he's a womanizer, whether he's chasing women, whether he's after money. He says more. This is a man that has been written about. Every man of God has already been written about. They are only playing out what has been written about them. Even the mistakes was part of the things written about them.
It's true.
So even men of God are victims to what has been written.
Yes.
Read. For this is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my messenger before your face, we shall prepare thy way before thee.
Verily I say unto you.
You see that? Stop. Go back again to that verse 10. Notice. He shall prepare your way before you. You know, people think John the Baptist went to prepare the way before the Lord. Jesus is saying, John the Baptist did not go ahead to prepare my way. He went ahead to prepare your way. Your way. But you that John the Baptist was going ahead to prepare your way, you are looking at what he was wearing. He is a laborer clearing. He is a road construction worker clearing your destiny path for you. You are looking at what he's wearing. You are looking at what he's wearing. Meanwhile, he's creating a path for you to follow. Notice, he said, he went to prepare your way, thy way, before you.
Yes.
But traditional Christianity has been teaching that John the Baptist went ahead to prepare the way for Jesus. Jesus now is saying, John the Baptist did not do it for me, he did it for you people. It is you what John the Baptist did it for. It was your way John the Baptist went to prepare, not mine. Now, what has been written about me is that I was supposed to be a king.
Exactly.
John the Baptist was ahead to prepare your way. And if you read Luke chapter 1 verses 15 to 17,
Yes.
Luke chapter 1 verses 15 to 17, the Bible says it was to turn the hearts of the children, of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just. So you see, he was to prepare the way of the people, not the way of Jesus.
Yes.
And Jesus now, who has been accused of benefiting from what John the Baptist prepared, is testifying. John the Baptist did not do anything for me, or he did not prepare any way for me. It was you people.
Yes.
It was your way John the Baptist was preparing. But you were looking at his clothes. He's trying to make your life better. You are looking at whether he's wearing Jojo Armani. You are trying to see the Italian shoes. You are trying to see whether the tie fits the shirt. You are trying to see whether he's using suspenders today or whether he's using tying a belt today. Read verses 11. Verily, verily, I say to you,
among them that are born of women, there has not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he.
Read verses 12.
And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth
You see,
violence.
that's the problem. You see that? We live in a violent kingdom. The kingdom of God is very violent today. That's why you see Christians attacking Christians. Men of God trying to see how other men of God will fall. Some other members are trying to be agents of conspiracy and set up. It's the violent kingdom.
Yes, sir.
So the kingdom of God is full of peace, righteousness. Jesus is saying it's not true.
Yes.
There's no peace in the kingdom. There's violence. Violence.
Yes, sir.
It's a violent kingdom.
Yes, sir.
That's why we're not surprised. How some people will do anything to discredit a man of God. It's a violent kingdom.
Right.
And as you are doing your own, God is using the man of God to do his own. So that he can set a trap. Because this one, they must perish. They just have to perish.
Yeah.
Read verses 13.
For
All the prophets and the law prophesied until
You see
John.
that? Do you understand? All the prophecies, all the prophets prophesied. It ended with John the Baptist. Do you understand? All the prophecies targeted John. So John the Baptist was a victim to prophecies.
Jesus.
So the mistakes, the way he was cursing, reacting, it was nothing doing it. Jeremiah also prophesied about John. So even the prophecies Jeremiah prophesied, all the prophecies every prophet ever prophesied located John. And they were landing on his head.
Jesus.
Jesus is saying, in case you don't know that guy you think, how can he wear nice clothes when prophecies are locating him? Good ones, bad ones, they are hitting him. And you say you wear Jojo Armani. He has to wear animal skin. You know? Some years ago, we prayed for somebody. And the person came for prayers, and we prayed. Unknown to us, a man of God had prayed against the person before because somebody took her name to this man of God for prayers. So, the man of God prayed against the person. Things were going bizarre. The person was beginning to have a mental problem. Sometimes the person, a lady, nicely dressed, she can be walking on the street, then later on she'll start pulling her hair, she'll just... So, then we were living in Skytop. So they brought her to us in Skytop. So he said we should pray. So we prayed, and this was what we prayed. This arrow of madness that came, go back to sender. Do you know what I just did?
Yes.
I was attacking a man of God.
Yes.
That's what I did. You understand? Because I told that arrow, go back to sender.
Yes.
And she received the sanity. You understand? The man of God himself got the signal and released times 2. You understand? Because he now started having problem. You understand?
Right.
And then he met a minister friend. I later met the man of God. When he was narrating the story, then the Lord whispered to me, that's the person. So I called the name of the person. Is this the person? He said, how did you know? I said, the person came to meet me for prayer. I was the one who said the thing should go back to sender. The man of God began to laugh. He said, so you were the one attacking me. I said, I wasn't. I didn't even know you. Do you understand? There's a reason why we're saying that. When it says all the prophecies began with the prophets and ended with John, the arrows were targeting one person. So 2 months later, they brought that lady again. This time around, it was worse.
Yes, sir.
So I said, use this arrow. Go back to sender another. Then the Lord now whispered to me, stop. It was a man of God that prayed against this thing. Why don't you pray against the one who took the name to the man of God? So I said, okay, now we're going to pray. The person who took your name to a man of God for prayer, now receive that arrow. You, your children, your generation. That's how that lady became free. Guess what happened? 2 weeks later,
Yes, sir.
the person who really took that lady's name was brought to us for prayer. It was when I was going to pray, the Lord said, stop, don't pray. This is the person who attacked that lady. So I said, now, the only way you can be free is to confess that you were sorry for attacking this person. But she was already too mad to understand what I was saying. They tied her when they brought her. Then I said, Lord, please, what can we do? I said, send her away, let her suffer it for a while. So I said, and I couldn't tell them, you suffer it for a while. I just said, you know what, I'm traveling now. Then we used to go to Virginia. So I said, you know what, I'm traveling to Virginia, but bring her later. They didn't bring her back. And I'm glad they didn't bring her back. And what happened? She and that first lady, she attacked, were just colleagues. That one was her boss. That one reprimanded her for something she did wrong. And she got angry. That was what really happened. And this lady that they finally brought later on was now telling the boss who reprimanded her that she attacked with insanity, I will show you. I will show you. So we are seeing the show now. But the thing is that even the man of God she took the name to,
yes, sir,
he suffered insanity to a bit. Until he met another man of God who agreed with him. He too shall agree as touching anything. And with those things, I began to see why the Lord told me, stop taking people's name to pray. So you may see a man of God and be challenging the pitfalls. You don't know that it was prophecy, prayers. You that he prayed for that was free. An enemy was angry that you were free and decided to attack, send arrows to the man of God. Let's read verses 14 now. If I read verses 13 again. For all the prophets and the law prophesied to John. All their prophecies were coming. I thought all the prophets prophesied concerning Jesus, and the prophecies were supposed to locate Jesus. He said they prophesied till John put a full stop to it. That means the thing, Jesus is saying, John the Baptist was my shield. The prophecies would have also located me too. But anyway, let's go on. Because the prophecy is talking about is not glorious prophecies. The prophecy of violence. That's what I mentioned earlier. The kingdom of heaven suffered violence. So prophecies have become what? Weapons of violence in the kingdom. That's what he said. And the prophets prophesied. And it was in the era of John that he suffered it the most. The prophecies were flying everywhere. Look at the prophecies of violence. And then you say you can tell the story of a man of God. Do you know the battles he's fighting? Okay, now let's read verses 13 into verses 14. That's where we'll end. We'll finish already. 1, 2, go.
For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come.
See that?
Yes. This is Elijah.
He said if you will receive it, many will not. Jesus is testifying. That John, he didn't know who he was. If only you will receive it. But he knew many will not. Read on. Let's read something. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, read. Verse 16 now. He said that after he finally gave the witness, he knew the people were not receiving it. He said, how will I describe you people? Hey, how will I describe you people? See how he described them.
It is like unto children sitting in the market and calling unto their fellows.
And saying, we have been
unto you, and you have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented.
Read.
John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say,
He has a demon. Read.
Son of Man came eating and drinking.
They say you are a glutton. Jesus said, no man of God can ever please a people. Can't. No man of God can ever please anyone. No man of God. No man of God can ever please anyone. He said, but wisdom is justified of our children. Let's close.